During the late evening of June 11, 1974, University of Washington student Georgianne Hawkins vanished walking down a brightly lit block. She was returning to her sorority home following a visit to her boyfriend's fraternity. She never arrived. What could have possibly happened during her brief return stroll? After her publicized disappearance, several witnesses came forward reporting to have seen a man in the alley on crutches with a leg cast. He was struggling to carry a briefcase. Little did they realize that this tactic of seeking assistance was the manner in which serial killer Ted Bundy lured young, petite women to their death. Theodore Robert Cowell was born at the Elizabeth Lunn Home for Unwed Mothers in Burlington, Vermont, to Eleanor Louise Cowell. He never knew the identity of his father. He assumed his stepfather Johnny Culpepper Bundy's last name once he was legally adopted. The Bundy family settled in Tacoma, and Eleanor and John had 4 additional children together. Ted felt remote from his adopted family. He didn't respect his stepfather's intelligence and modest earnings. He would later come to resent his mother's compromise in marrying him and duplicity in lying about his own true heritage. What creates a monster such as Ted Bundy from such a seemingly normal background? The evening before his death, he blamed a youthful fascination towards pornography and voyeurism. He felt detached from society and genuine interpersonal relationships. Tacoma was too provincial and small-minded for Bundy's visionary ambitions of himself. He would attend 1 year at the University of Puget Sound before transferring to the University of Washington in 1966 to study Chinese. With Ted Bundy, the truth was always relative. Women found him charming, initially disarming, and attractive. He exploited these characteristics into a murder spanning multiple states. The resentment that prompted his hatred and violence towards women has become as remote as his final body count. Numerous biographers have attempted to discern who was the real Ted Bundy. Is it really possible to understand the reasonings of a psychopath? The violence that accompanied Bundy's murders was vicious and unanticipated by each victim. During Bundy's university residence, numerous killings were attributed to him. He vaguely confessed to some during the final weeks of his life, hoping to buy time from an impending execution date. He was never arraigned or arrested for his Washington, Oregon, or potentially California murders. Many of his victims' remains would eventually be discovered on an isolated path near Taylor Mountain, east of Issaquah. He left no forensic evidence and was fastidious with covering his tracks. But Bundy's trail would end abruptly in Florida, after killing 3 women shortly after arriving into the state. This was after escaping from 2 incarcerations. They were brazen killings and uncharacteristically sloppy. Maybe he was simply tired of running. He defended himself at trial. He was found guilty on all 3 murders. There would be no reprieves in Florida, no extradition proceedings. His arrogance and cunning worked against him. His confessional stalling tactics failed. His terror would incite only additional unanswered questions. Despite a loyal base of naive supporters, Bundy was executed on January 24th, 1989 in Gainesville, Florida, as originally scheduled. One of the most infamous American serial killers was electrocuted. His soul